Peace and love, you guys. Salute. So I seem to be entering into a larger and larger pool of disgust for Ryan Garcia, for the undercover sympathizers, and the way the public is continuing to handle the matter of his cheating. Keep in mind, though, that I don't want to be so bleak in my perspective, because there are real ones out there. Shout out to the beautiful Kings, BFTB, Champside, 7-8 Sports, and the plethora of kings and queens. Shout out to Queens of the Ring, Queens of Boxing Talk, my sisters and the like, who know what time it is and have been covering this with intelligibility and coherence and as much clarity as possible. Shout out to those. But I can't help but be astounded, nonetheless, by the myriad trickles here and there that I come across on all platforms, on all levels. People of a mindset that are still clinging to a hope, clinging to a falsity, clinging to folly surrounding the matter of this scandal. The mindlessness seems to be unending, and people are literally willfully yielding to deliberate misinformation and blatant disrespect of the sport. That is the part that is beyond disgust for me, because I'm really passionate about this sport and have a lot of reverence and respect for this sport and the brothers and sisters involved in the sport. Brothers and sisters, I mean, in this case, every fighter, every warrior who steps into the ring. So the disrespect of the sport is the foremost intolerable for me as a supporter, as an avid supporter. I got questions, y'all. I got questions. I got pressing queries that never seem to be answered directly, without fluff, without the impediments, without the filibustering from the folk who have been going to bat in support of Ryan Garcia. Okay, these undercover people who slyly show support with their words, with their language, with their failure to want to comment on certain things. You guys would be astounded by some of the things that I've come across, by some of the people I've come across with this mindset that wants to show, that they, are unbiased, but the bias can't help but inevitably be exposed because it's all over their language. It's all over their posture about the situation. Okay. And all of this is in support of Ryan Garcia, whether they say it or not, because the reality is that there is a insidious aim and mentality, if not insidious, then definitely one that is of a sly mentality, right? Which is basically focused on the degradation and discrediting in some way, shape, or fashion of Bill and Devin Haney. The aim is to discredit in some way or another, whether it be from one extreme or another extreme. The aim is to discredit in their mind the credibility of Bill and Devin Haney. The distraction persists, you guys. It persists. And it's unending in the charades of Ryan Garcia himself. It's absolutely confounding to me. One can really, really just sit back in amazement at the level of buffoonery that is washing over the situation. And I find myself doing that basically day to day, flipping through a phone or, with my remote control, looking through YouTube or wherever else. I sit back in absolute amazement, listening to a lot of the perspectives that are going around. And I'm sure many of you are familiar now about the news that came out with, VADA. They released a statement some days ago, basically expounding upon their protocol with the athletes who sign up for their testing program. And VADA basically shed light on the fact that one of the things that is immediately provided to the athlete upon signing up for their testing program is the paperwork that pretty much details and substantiates, that it is the sole responsibility of the athlete to be very cautious about the use of dietary supplements. Okay, I'm sure you guys have seen the statement or have heard about the statement being released by VADA. Now, they also made it very clear in that statement that they are aware that in some instances, supplements can contain trace amounts of unapproved substances in the product, right? That they made room for the probability of that in their statement and in their dealings. This is a part of what they do. They understand that can happen. It is not impossible, right? However, even though the probability is there, they made it clear that it is still and would still be the responsibility of the athlete who ingested the substance that possibly had the contamination. Okay. And they also posited that the athlete, if in the event that happened, will still be held fully accountable if that were to occur under their time frame under the VADA program. Now, accountable is a big word. Okay, because it's a core issue, in my opinion, regarding the whole Ryan Garcia scandal. The theme of accountability. You know why? That's because that's the motherfucking very thing that he's never had in this situation. That's the very thing he's never shown since the onset of him testing positive. Okay? He's never shown any level of accountability whatsoever. He was fully aware of the terms that he signed up for and agreed to meet under VADA's testing. He was 1,000% aware of that. Okay? He was briefed. He signed the contract. He knew everything that was expected of him. It is absurd on every level how the foolish boxing public can assume that one just magically steps into a boxing ring to fight without any guidelines, contracts, terms, stipulations, regulatory adherence, clearance protocols, or whatever. It's just astounding. Yet these people think that you just wake up and walk into a ring without having signed contracts, without having been well informed of terms and stipulations. What is it that people are thinking, you guys? It's absurd, these boxing quote unquote fans. Now, another very significant matter of news was released yesterday, I believe, a game changer, the final blow for me, so to speak, to Ryan Garcia. So we know that he submitted, his 2 supplements that he alleged, so he suspected of the contamination, right? He sent it in. Well, these 2 supplements were tested and they indeed showed traces of ostarine, you guys. I know you guys are up on this, okay? Now, the crazy thing is that the lot number that was provided to trace the batches of the product with the same lot number to see, if the contamination was consistent within the products on the shelves or, with that lot number as a whole. Upon testing those other batches of the lot number, not one of the products in the comparative study showed any fucking trace of ostarine, y'all. Not a motherfucking one of them. Although they all had the same lot number, none of them showed signs of ostarine. Do you guys understand how heavy this is? This is gargantuous, you guys. This man, to me, should be imprisoned. Imprisoned. He literally sent in fake evidence, y'all. Tampered with the supplements to cover his ass. Do you hear this? Absolutely insane. This man should be put in jail. Sentenced. What the hell? That's one of the most ominous things I've ever seen in all of boxing. Absolutely mind-blowing, you guys. Now, this is the equivalent, basically. Just think about, like, this is the equivalent of somebody wiping off, let's say, their fingerprints from a gun that they used, right? Wiping their prints off. And then using the prints of a nearby body to conceal their own. What? Insane. Absolutely insane, you guys. This is the length that this man has gone to. Incredible. Incredible. This man and his team have been full of all types of meaningless confabulation and chatter, basically trying to, further swindle the feeble public who feed into and regurgitate this folly, this nonsense, okay? And this cover up, because that's what the fuck it is. It's a cover up of the battery and the assault that Ryan wanted to inflict in that ring that night against Devin on the 20th. It is what it is. Just as, that brings to mind, Margarito Cotto, right? I'm disgusted, y'all. Absolutely disgusted. Except, you know what? What's worse in this situation with Ryan Garcia is that he has a boxing public calling him pretty. Calling him pretty. While he sticks a needle in his arm, while he juices up to his neck, and while, he harms in real time in front of everybody the well-being of Devin Haney. Despite the proof of his deception, he's got people coddling to him. Despite the proof of his deception, he's got people calling him pretty. Despite proof of ill intent and guilt. Where is the sentencing of Ryan Garcia? That's what I'm trying to get to. Okay? Because this nigga motherfucking blamed Gaia Herbs, who said absolutely 1,000% Ostarine is not a part of our products. Now he had NutraBio doing a whole video explaining the entire process through and through of their credibility in their testing and what the measures are that they take prior to even releasing it from their facilities. Come on, you guys. Where is the sentencing at? Let's get to that motherfucking part. That's what I'm ready for. This is absolutely insane on so many levels. Insane. Looking at this for what it is cannot be, in my view, sidestepped or bypassed or lulled over. It's here, and I see it clearly. I know exactly what time it is, and I will speak on it truthfully, so long as it's an issue, because real talk, it does not only pertain to boxing. This is a mindset that we are seeing being cloaked over the boxing public. It's a state of being that's being exposed in many people who basically are bringing their very particular biases and partisanships and prejudices of whatever kind they may be. They're bringing all of that to this situation, and it's very, very, very much exposed in my view from all that I've been seeing. All of the biases are not left at the door. I've said this previously. All the biases are not left at the door simply because one is a quote unquote boxing fan or spectator. Anybody who thinks that is a fool. This whole issue at hand is steeped in subjectivity. I laugh at anybody trying to negate or omit the intentional, deliberate, premeditated motive of Ryan Garcia, you guys. Call it like the fuck it is. Ryan's motives were 1,000% subjective. His own motives were subjective and personal. And he played on the susceptibility of the public's subjectivity. And it's been working very effectively in my view because it's tied to a deep subjective bias that the boxing world as a whole seems to have against the Haney name. Okay? Now, one of the most prevailing questions I have concerning all of this is why? Why is this happening? Why is the support for Ryan Garcia and his cheating predicated upon a dislike of the Haney family? That's a very big question, a very severe question that I want to bring into light a little bit. Okay, because it's at the root and at the base of all these things, and they connect to all things concerning these two men, Ryan and Devin. Okay, It's a serious question that needs as much attention as possible. I had a discussion, I believe, on Champside's platform. That was yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. And, somebody had mentioned, that they weren't in the know of everything that's going on. And, they don't feel it's necessary to be long-winded about the situation and the matter of the, whole case. And was kind of bypassing, his analysis, his view, his judgment on the situation. But he was very quick to say what rounds he thought Ryan won. And it's like, okay, that's all well and dandy, but what the fuck do you think of this motherfucker tampering with evidence, with him passing 4 tests? What do you think about his failure to comply with rules and regulations of the New York State Athletic Commission? What the fuck do you think about this nigga sticking IVs in his arm? No thoughts on that were given by this brother. And this is the mindset that people want to sidestep, but little does that gentleman know that is his partisanship at work. That is his bias at work. And he probably, I'm sure he's well aware of it. He just was too cowardly to call it what the fuck it was. Because he's also said a few other disparaging things concerning Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia situation that I've heard in the past. But anyway, that is besides the point. All of this is to show a bias that people are plenty readily buying into, whether they want to say it or not, whether they want to outwardly communicate it or not, or whether they are outwardly communicating it. The question remains, why? Why is the shy support or the blatant support of Ryan Garcia predicated upon a dislike for Devin Haney? You can support Ryan Garcia all you like. There's no problem with that. There's no problem with being a fan of that man. But why are you a fan and in support of his cheating? That's the question. And that's the bypassing that I just cannot stand. Real talk. It's insane. It has nothing to do with fandom or the support of a fighter that you like. The reality of the matter is that this man is guilty on myriad levels and has proven to be so. It's not saying that you're kissing Devin Haney's ass by calling it for the truth that it is, that he was cheated and disrespected and the entire sport was disrespected. And trust me, I know, that it seems that we as a boxing community that, is, steeped in this information. I know that it seems that we are, a bit long-winded about the particular subject of Devin and Ryan in this entire, hellacious saga. Real talk. But it has become an insurmountable point of focus because of the absurdity of it, because of the unjustifiably staunch stance that these man fans have been looming within ever since the information broke, And so much study and attention is owed to this matter, even though we seem to be long-winded about it. At the same time, we cannot back down from calling eyes and all attention to the matter at hand because so much was at stake. So much is at stake for future fights and fighters and events and the like. As far as matters of safety, ethical practices, trying to limit the amount of coercion, if not exclude it completely, and countless other elements. That's why we cannot back down from this discussion. Real talk, I haven't ceased yet at being incredibly amazed and stunned by the fact that this is still a thing within boxing, in the boxing world. I definitely take that stance as well. This dialogue, this mindset, the excuses, the delusion, we are over a month removed from the fight on April 20th, and we are a month into the news that broke of Ryan's, cheating and his positive samples, 4 positive tests. He was caught on camera taking IVs, the deliberate missing of the weight. It's just a drove of things that have been nonstop. And a drove of ignorant, emotionally charged, unethical, partisan people without a balance. Partisan people without a balance. Okay? people of all of that like who have been just doing everything in their power to spread misinformation and confusion to support the illegal, unethical actions of Ryan Garcia. And that is where the problem continues to lie. How many times are we going to see comments promoting, the nonsense of the 1 billionth of a gram on my page and elsewhere, you guys? Believe it or not, there's still people around doing this. There are still people circulating with this bullshit. How many times are we going to run into, these things of quote unquote, how little of it was in his system and how little of it made a difference on the night of the fight? It's insanity. Absolutely insane. And you know what? The reality of the matter for me is that it's not something that I want to keep on being redundant in dialogue about. It's not, I don't want to maintain, an endless discussion about this one thing. Quite frankly, I'd like this to be resolved. I would like it to cease, but I would only like to see the ceasing of this dialogue upon the issue and matter being resolved. But until that happens, we will keep talking about it, shedding light on it, showing our support for Devin Haney, showing our support for the clean athlete, for the clean boxer in general, because this is really who it's affecting, the lives and the safety of the men and women who step into that ring with these cheats who do not respect themselves, do not respect the boxing fans, and do not respect the sport. We need to end that shit ASAP. Anyway, that's it for me, you guys. I'm on to the next. Peace.